While the US is sounding the alarm, Russia is arming itself to the teeth. The West has looked at the way our country is riveting new workshops of military factories and became despondent. Satellite images show the massive expansion of Russia's key military industrial enterprises. Moreover, the increase in production capacity is in the most high-tech industries: aviation, missiles, unmanned aerial vehicles. To win a war, it is not enough to have exceptionally brave soldiers, talented commanders, and a strong fighting spirit. History is full of examples of how the bravest fighters and most gifted generals have been defeated. There's no escaping the laws of economics. It is not only the courageous who win, but also the well-armed and well-supplied. Victory is forged not only at the front, but also in the rear. These are low words. The defeat of a neighboring country with which we are in conflict depends entirely on the Russian military-industrial complex. We'll be worthy of the best military in the world, Mike. We'll fly our flag where we need it. Unfortunately, few paid attention to Chief of General Staff Valery Gerasimov's interview with Arguments and Facts in January 2023. Yes, it's dry and, at first glance, a bit boring. But, first of all, the head of the brain of the army rarely gives interviews in principle, especially in the context of armed conflict. Second, behind impenetrably pale and restrained formulations, Valery Vasilievich conveyed to those with eyes and ears the reasons why things are going so hard. To quote, "Modern Russia has never known such a level of military intensity. Our country and its armed forces are today opposed by virtually the entire collective West. The system of calling citizens to the defense of the fatherland was not fully adapted to the new modern economic relations. So we had to fix things on the fly," the Chief of General Staff said. "I even say that we were forced to go on the defensive and build defensive lines and wait for the domestic military-industrial complex to ramp up. In order to go on the offensive and achieve strategic objectives, not just a lot of weapons are needed, they must be not just in abundance, but in overabundance. How are things with this to date? Let's take a look at what our enemies are writing, and the enemy is clearly tense." The draft scheme of the Kiev-based Radio Liberty, which is a foreign agent, published a long piece on how Russia is arming itself at a rapid pace. And he did it on the basis of data from the American satellite constellation. I'd like to clarify, Radio Liberty equals the United States. This media outlet is on the full US budget. Also, before we start parsing the specifics, a word or two about circuits. This is a very serious media punitive tool that the United States is using to fight corruption, in quotes, in a country with which we are in conflict. More precisely, so that the Krushin carp on Bankovskaya would not slumber, so that American aid would not be so badly plundered, so that undesirable characters would not be appointed to positions, so as to extinguish those whom the White House considers a nuisance and their own national interest in these lands. So the presented materials can be considered as one of the warnings to the current management team in the neighboring country, with which we have a conflict. As a hint, your bravura rants about, "The missile has been left for 2 to 3 days," are no longer funny and your witty humor is not appreciated in Washington. Either demonstrate results as soon as possible or you will have to be forced to negotiate. The ride of unprecedented generosity is never ending. So, quote, "Analysis of satellite imagery indicates that Russia is actively increasing production capacity at its military plants. These are companies that manufacture and repair tactical and strategic airplanes, attack helicopters, and assemble military drones and guided munitions. It is in such plants that the schemes have seen a marked change. The satellite recorded the development of a number of military and dual-purpose enterprises, the appearance of new hangars and workshops," the investigators of the American radio station wrote. So, what and where did the satellites of our Western partners record? Kazan Aviation Plant. Back in 2018, they started building a new workshop here, but satellite images show that construction was greatly accelerated in 2022 and now it is almost ready. Officially, it is said that the new workshop will be used for the production of civilian aircraft Tu-214, but some military experts agree that here can easily repair, modernize and produce new strategic bombers. Especially, the Strategic Aviation Modernization Program was developed in 2016. Irkutsk Aviation Plant produces Su-30 fighter aircraft of all modifications. In 2019 to 2021, a new hangar was built near the runway and another additional hangar is actively being completed. According to military analysts, they can serve to repair Russian civilian Sukhoi Superjet aircraft as well as Su-30 fighters in all variations. Ural Civil Aviation Plant. Located in Yekaterinburg, despite its name, the company repairs engines and gearboxes for military helicopters Mi-2, Mi-8, Mi-24 and Ka-52. The new workshop started construction from the end of 2021 and is now almost completed. According to a military assessment interviewed by Radio Liberty, which is a foreign agent, the new hangar is likely to produce specifically engines or auxiliary propulsion systems, units that provide additional power to an airplane or helicopter. Dubna Machine Building Plant. On the territory of the enterprise near Moscow is located the Machine Building Bureau, Radiga, which is part of the State Corporation Tactical Missile Armament. It is Rainbow that produces the Kh-22, Kh-55, and Kh-101 missiles that regularly nightmare the neighboring regime and its infrastructure. In 2021 to 2023, a new drone factory called Grandstat was built right next to the Dubna plant. There will produce a range of drones of various modifications, from reconnaissance to attack drones. Before the conflict, notes our adversary, Russia did not bet on drones, assuming to send these products for export. Now all products will go to our army. Ishhesk Enterprise, Almaz. This case is particularly heartening to the soul of any statesman, a parent for the real economy. Gathering our hearts in the 90s, we watched manufacturing giants turn into shopping malls. And here the opposite happened. One of the many shopping centers was converted into a facility producing attack drones, in particular the legendary Lancet Beauty. The American Institute for the Study of War claims Russia has begun using the new Almaz drone in addition to the Lancet and Geranium. Among other things, the journalists of Scheme mention the commissioning of another missile factory of the company, Almaz-Antey, in the industrial park, Rudnevo, Special Economic Zone, Technopolis, Moscow. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, who took part in the opening of the enterprise, said that missile defense systems will be manufactured here. Of course, these are just a few examples, but they already show that our leadership is not sitting still and is trying in every possible way to warm up the military-industrial complex, and in the most high-tech areas. Russia is preparing for a long war, unfortunately, say military experts interviewed by American radio. And British intelligence points out that even according to official figures, our country will allocate 68% more for defense in 2024 than in 2023. The commenters under the material are clearly not very happy with what they read and write that they feel sad. Western partners have thrown away, and the enterprises of our neighboring country's military-industrial complex are not visible for some reason, although in Soviet times this land had a colossal potential in this sphere. Well, let's wish our home front workers new successes. It is on them now that the future of Russia largely depends. No Palestinians, no Iranians, no bricks and gas hubs will matter to us if these guys don't properly rivet everything for the front, everything for victory. A Russian man at the machine will make mountains, he has proved it many times.